Facilitating difficult conversations can be tough because you're never really sure what may happen. You're never really sure if you have structured the conversation in a meaningful and generative way. Well, the Center for Faculty Development here at San Jose State University would like to help. These are the rules of engagement for facilitating difficult conversations. There are 5 elements to the rules of engagement. These rules of engagement were created with faculty in mind, but these rules can be used by anyone facilitating or participating in a difficult conversation. So the first thing to do is to set the stage. Next, you're going to think about how do you navigate the conversation and discussion. Listening and responding to another participant in the conversation, remembering that silence is generative, and then finally providing an opportunity for further discussion. So setting the stage, it's important that you describe the purpose and the reason for the discussion. It's also helpful to provide a framing question for the discussion. This discussion acts as a starting block for whoever is present for the discussion. It's a big idea that allows for all those who are present for the conversation to know where they're headed in the discussion. You want to make it clear that the space is free of expressed judgment, so everyone is welcome into the space to share their ideas, their perspectives, their thoughts and opinions without being judged. It's important that you set a specific amount of time for the discussion. So if you're a faculty member wanting to lead a conversation in one of your courses, you might state that you'll take 15 minutes in the beginning of class for the discussion to emerge. And then finally, in setting the stage, it's important for the facilitator or the faculty member to begin the discussion by responding to the framing question. This way, the facilitator or faculty member is modeling the behaviors for the discussion. It then invites those who are participating to begin to build on what was shared by the facilitator or the faculty member. Next is navigating the discussion and conversation. So it's important to remember every voice that wishes to be heard should be heard in full. You do want to provide an opportunity for those who wish not to verbally communicate to provide their ideas in a different format anonymously. So that might look like a note, that might look like in this asynchronous online format or in a synchronous format, that folks have an opportunity to share their ideas via the chat box. Participants should be mindful to share from their perspective and not provide judgment or analysis to the words of another person. Each participant is provided the opportunity to speak without interruption or crosstalk. So an interruption can sound like a snicker or a grunt. It doesn't have to be where you're just cutting the person off with your words. And you want to remember to encourage participants and even yourself as the facilitator to use strategies that help you listen without interrupting. So maybe you try writing down your thoughts. These are all ways and tools that can be shared with those who are present for the conversation. Next is responding to another participant. So it's important that we listen to the words of the speaker as their perspectives and not as their personal reflection of others who might be participating in the conversation at that moment. If something is heard and felt as personal, you might encourage participants to say, "When I hear you say X, it makes me feel Y because Z." And it's also important to remember not to expect an apology in that moment, right? We're not looking for there to be a wrong that is made right. We're simply looking for people to feel empowered in that moment to share what it is that they're feeling. If someone wishes to respond to something that was said, you might suggest that they say, "Thank you for sharing that perspective. In my opinion," it's important that we're acknowledging what it is that we heard the other person, that we're listening and taking it in, and that we're also invited to share our opinions. If you are uncertain about what was heard, you might suggest to participants or to students to say, "I think I heard you say," "Did I hear you correctly?" You might also try, "I would like to restate what I heard. Is this an accurate restatement of what you said?" It's also important to remember that silence is generative. I used to be a 3rd and 4th grade special ed teacher, and I was a faculty member for about 3 years. And every time there was silence, I would take it personally. I didn't take it as a moment to consider that maybe my students were simply thinking and reflecting upon what I had to say, or thinking and reflecting upon the question. And that for some people, taking long bouts of silence is important to them. It actually helps them to create responses that are meaningful. So silence is not a bad thing. Silence can signal thinking and reflection. It's a practice to not take silence personally. Participants can share as they are ready and should not be called on, right? So when you're sharing this with the group, you would certainly say you will not call on them, but it's important that participants can share on their time. And if nothing happens to come up during the allotted time for the discussion, so remember at the beginning of this, I said you might say, "We'll take 15 minutes. If nothing is shared in that 15 minutes, that's okay. During that time of silence, folks were certainly thinking and creating and working through some ideas. And that is important to acknowledge that. And so it's important to, as you know that, to move forward and provide another opportunity to return to the discussion. And finally, you want to close the conversation by acknowledging everyone's presence and provide an opportunity to continue the discussion one-on-one if requested. So if students or other participants in a conversation wish to continue to move forward with the conversation, it's important that they know that they can reach you for a one-on-one discussion. And those are the 5 elements for facilitating a difficult conversation. It certainly provides some structure for how you will move forward, and it also provides participants some structure with how they can engage with each other in a way that is generative and fulfilling. If you wish to stay in touch with us, you can email us at cfd@sjsu.edu. You can also follow us on social media, where we post a lot of wonderful content about teaching and ways in which you can enhance your courses through interesting and nuanced strategies. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel.